Hi, I'm Chris. I'm coming to you today with a testimony I have. It's about survival from domestic abuse and violence. And I hope that my story touches a lot of people and helps them in the ways that God has helped me survive and start a new life. My husband and I were together for 18 years. He was a Marine, very dark human being. And he just never understood what love was or respect or anything. And he would just be very cold and ugly and dark. And he was an alcoholic. And when he drank, it would make everything just horrible. I do remember one time when my kids were little, I was trying to leave. And I had my kids and my bag with me and trying to walk out the door, and he grabbed my arm and twisted it and almost broke it and knocked me down. And my poor kids, they were in fear. And I really regret for staying for so long, but I did what I had to do to make sure that my kids were fed and had a house to live in and be warm. But as the years went on, the abuse kept getting worse and worse. Not just physical, but the mental abuse, emotional abuse. There was sexual abuse. There was everything you can imagine. But like I said, the older I got, the longer that I was in this marriage, it started to become so normal for my life that I couldn't really do anything without wondering when the next hit was coming or when the next emotional word from him was coming just to knock me down. I was really never allowed to have friends, even girlfriends, because if I made a friend, then I was considered gay. And so he kept me trapped in the four walls that we lived in. And I really couldn't go anywhere by myself. And I always dreaded having to go into public with him because I was always afraid of what he would say or do to me. And it would have been just horrifying for everybody to see. When my kids got older, it really never got any better, even for them. And I always tried to keep him away from my kids and take the brunt of everything that he brought. I remember he threw a beer bottle at me, and it just made me so mad. And so what I do, I took one and threw it back at him. And I was just getting so tired and wondering if I was ever going to make it to the next day. I started praying and asking God to help me find a way out of this for me and my kids before I died, because I knew it was coming. I knew I was never going to make it. And I just prayed that just to keep me alive until my kids graduated high school. And I remember one time he hurt me so bad that I had bruises everywhere, and I was always trying to hide them from my kids so they would never see. And there is a scripture that I used to read to myself, and it is Psalms 46:1. And it says, God is our refuge and our strength and an ever-present help in trouble. I would always scream out to help me, help me. I don't want to die today. And so as time went on, Stacy Welch came into my life. She is my very best friend. Sorry. And she gave me encouragement to stand strong against him. And she showed me love and that I was worthy. And she just kept telling me to pray and pray. And I did. And I did. I brought my children to this church. They grew up in this church. And every Sunday after church, we would go home and he would be there waiting. And I knew what was coming. I would be dragged into a room and cursed out and beaten and told me that it was just all a cult. Nothing was real. And after that, I just became so numb. And so I just kept asking God, how much more do I have to take? How much more do I have to endure to try to find a way out of this? So when my daughter got older, I tried everything, to keep her safe and away from him. And things happened, and I could not stop them because I really didn't know a lot about it, but God helped me figure out a way to get through this. And when he worked at Stern Stevenson, they closed the doors. And I prayed to God every day, please give him a job that would send him away, that would not have him here at the house. And my prayer was answered. He was hired by this job as a contracted welder, where he used to go as a Marine in the service. And it would send him overseas for at least a year at a time. So I just was so grateful and so blessed that God put him in this job for not only me, but for my kids, because we would at least have some peace in the house, and I wouldn't be so afraid to get up in the mornings wondering what was going to come throughout. And I thought it was going to be better. It was, in the aspect for, my kids didn't have to endure him. But he would FaceTime me every 10, 15 minutes a day, 24 hours a day, would not let me sleep. Just mouthing and being so ugly. And I would so try to turn my phone off, but I couldn't, in case my mother needed me or any of my family. So I had to just keep answering the phone because he kept calling if I wouldn't answer. So when he would come back in December's, he would be there for about 2 weeks, and I would get myself prepared for all the abuse you can imagine. And I took it. And then when it was time for my son to graduate. Erica had graduated by then. And then Parker graduated the next year, and all of a sudden, a bright light came to me and told me it was going to be all right. You're going to make it. Because when he came home that last time, he did try to kill me. He choked me till the lights went out. And I just begged God, please, don't let me die. My kids need me. And finally, I was able to come back. Started looking around, and he told me that if I didn't do anything that he told me to do, then next time I would not be breathing no more. And since he was a Marine, I knew it was true because, I mean, he could kill you with his own bare hands. So when it was time for my son to graduate, he did graduate, and God told me to get up. You're strong. I've been with you. Now's the time. So I got the nerve to file for divorce papers, knowing that I hadn't been working, because he made me stop working. That way he could have full control over my life. So I hadn't worked in a long, long time. But he said, it's time to file. So I did. I filed papers. And when he was served the papers, you think that people are away, they can't get to you, but he did. He had people, his group, I'll say, hunt me down and hurt me because I filed. But I promised God I was not going to give up. I had to get out of this life because of my kids and because I wanted to live. And I did. I said enough. I was not going to do this anymore. So I did. I filed, and he was served papers. And the day that I walked out of that courtroom was my new life that God gave me. I made it. I didn't quit. Even through all the beatings and the emotional abuse, sexual abuse, all of it, I did not stop. I did not quit because of God and my best friend, Stacy Welch, that helped me get through this. I am alive today with a new life, and I could not be more thankful to God. He walked with me through all kinds of fire, and I can't even describe the feelings that I have to this day of how thankful and blessed I am for him to stay with me and not give up on me. I guess he did have a bigger plan for my life, and I did not know that at the time, but I do now. And there is another scripture that I wanted to read that keeps coming back to me all the time, and I never understood why, so I would just keep reading it. But it's Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am of your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. He made me stronger. He gave me the strength to keep pressing forward, to move forward, even though I would think that I was done and was never going to see another day. I did. After my divorce, I was trying to make a new life, me and my kids. It's always been my kids. They're my life. They're my world. I did everything to protect them from the harm that I endured. And I will never be, ashamed of that. They would never feel harmed the way I did because I always wanted to protect them. And I was afraid to start a life with anyone else because I did not want to have to go through that again. I had a friend since 2005. I did not realize that he had feelings for me at the time. I was pretty scared, and I did let him in. Unfortunately, now I wish I never did, but I thought that he loved me. But I had to go through emotional abuse again. He cheated on me from day one, and I never saw it. I just thought, oh my gosh, somebody loves me. But I chose to not live that life with him anymore. And I left him almost 4 years ago. And I could not be more freer and more happy with my life than I am right now. It's me and my kids and my grandson. So I want to let every lady out there know, even men, they go through abuse too. That it may look so dark and you don't think that you're going to make it, but you pray to God and He will be there with you, walking with you through everything, the deepest valleys, your darkest days. And He will bring you out to a new life. I am living proof. And thank God I'm still here to be able to sit here and tell my story. Because if you don't talk about it, you try to forget about it. And you don't want to go back there. But if you don't pray, if you don't talk to anybody, you don't get help, then it's just healing. This for me right here is healing to move on and never have to live it again. And no one deserves to be treated the way I did. And there is hope. And there is places out there that can help you. Physical abuse does heal a whole lot faster than emotional abuse does. It takes time, lots of prayer, and to have people to lean on when the flooding of emotions come back. So I encourage anybody that feels this way just to stand strong, steadfast, knowing that God will get you to where you want to be, where He wants you to be. And you can have a new life like I'm living now. Thank you.